Welcome to the U.S. Military Test Prep channel by Study.com. My name is Eric, Marine Corps veteran, and I'm an ASVAB test prep expert. In today's video, we'll practice solving one-step or multi-step arithmetic real-world problems involving 4 operations with rational numbers, including those involving scientific notation. This will help you to prepare for the Arithmetic Reasoning exam, which is one of the subject-specific sections of the ASVAB. Let's take a look at our first problem. A construction worker is cutting wooden planks. Each plank is 7.25 feet long, and he needs to cut them into sections that are 1.45 feet each. How many full sections can he cut from one plank? Well, let's first start by inventorying the information that we're given. So one plank is 7.25 feet long, and the sections need to be 1.45 feet each. So the first thing we'll look at is, are we in the same units of measurement? And in both cases, our original length is 7.25 feet, and then we're in 1.45 feet sections after they're cut down. So we're in the same unit of measurement using feet. So that helps. We don't have to do any conversions. So really, this problem is pretty simple. We take the full length, 7.25, and we divide by the section size, 1.45. And something that we can do to make this a little bit easier is we can multiply by 1, but we're going to use a little trick here. Any number divided by itself is 1. And in this case, because we have 2 decimals out on both of these numbers, if we multiply both of them by 100, so really, 100 divided by 100 equals 1. We're just multiplying by 1, which is the same answer, but we can make our math a little bit simpler. So now we're looking at 725 divided by 145. This gets us out of the world of decimals and can make the math just a little simpler for us. And we can easily see that this 145 times 5 equals 725. And so that's the same ratio, and that's our answer. The construction worker can cut 5 1.45 foot sections out of a 7.25 foot plank. Great job. A water tank is leaking at a rate of 2.4 times 10 to the negative 2 gallons per minute. How much water will it lose in 5 hours? So let's start with this 2.4 times 10 to the negative 2. That's something we call scientific notation, which is really something that we use when we want to avoid a lot of long decimals. It helps us put the numbers into a simpler form. So when you're dealing with really long numbers or numbers with really long decimal places, it can help us have a little bit more precision without having to write those really long numbers out. And there's a way that we can use scientific notation in our math. So just so we understand what we're looking at, 2.4 times 10 to the negative 2 is the same as saying 2.4 times 1 divided by 10 squared, or 2.4 times 1 divided by, so 10 times 10 is 100. So if we multiply that out, if we put 2.4 over 1 times 1 over 100, we get 2.4 divided by 100. And 2.4 divided by 100 basically just moves our decimal place to the left 2 times. So then we get 0.024. So this original 2.4 times 10 to the negative 2 is the exact same thing as 0.024. It's just a little bit easier to deal with in some cases. It's just another way to say the same thing. And you can imagine if you're dealing with really long decimal places, we use scientific notation because it's a lot easier to work with. Now we can see that our answer is going to be in scientific notation, so we're going to stick with that method. So we have 2.4 times 10 to the negative 2 gallons per minute. But what we want to find is how much water will it lose in 5 hours. So we need to try to get this into the same units of measure. So let's take our time and we'll convert that. So that's 5 hours. So if we take 5 times 60 minutes per hour, then we end up with 300, that's 5 times 60 minutes. So now we can take 2.4 times 10 to the negative 2 times 300 minutes, and that would give us our answer. But we need to try and get it all into scientific notation. So we need to take this 300 and we need to convert it into scientific notation. So this equals 2.4 times 10 to the negative 2 times, we can throw that into parentheses just to keep it nice and clean, 3 times 10 squared. So now if we think about that, 3 times 10 squared, well, 10 squared is 100, so 3 times 100 equals 300. So all we've done is taken that 300 and written it in scientific notation. Great, we're really cooking here. Okay, so now because we have everything in scientific notation and everything's in minutes, now we can just multiply. So we'll take 2.4 times 3 equals 7.2 times 10, and then we'll take the negative 2 plus 2, because that's how we combine these exponents. So negative 2 plus 2 equals 0. So then our answer is 7.2 times 10 to the 0 power. Great job. A science experiment requires a solution to be heated from 25 degrees Celsius to 80 degrees Celsius at a rate of 5 degrees Celsius per minute. How long will it take to reach the desired temperature? So we'll call this like T1. That's our starting temperature is 25 degrees Celsius. And then we'll call this T2. That'll be our ending temperature is 80 degrees Celsius. Then we'll call it our rate of heating. We'll call that R is 5 degrees Celsius per minute. Okay. So the first thing that we need to do to solve this problem is we need to figure out the difference between our starting temperature and our ending temperature. So we'll take our ending temperature, 80 minus 25 equals 55. So that's how many degrees have to change. And then if we want to do that 5 degrees per minute, and what we're trying to figure out is how many minutes will that take? Well, then we take the change that we need to see, that's 55 degrees, divided by 5 degrees per minute, and that equals 11 minutes. So that's our answer. Great job. A farmer bought 5.25 pounds of fertilizer for $18.38. What is the cost per pound of fertilizer? So our total weight is 5.25 pounds, and our total cost for 5.25 pounds is $18.38. In order to find out how much 1 pound would cost, we're going to take our total cost and divide it by our total weight. So that's $18.38 divided by 5.25 pounds equals, and we're going to give it this kind of wavy equal sign. That means equals approximately $3.50 per pound. So that's our answer. Great job. Okay, that's the rundown on solving one-step or multi-step arithmetic real-world problems involving 4 operations with rational numbers, including those involving scientific notation. To recap, remember to read the entire question carefully and consider what information you're being given to solve the problem. Break multi-step problems down to simpler steps. If you can convert all parts of the problem into like units of measurements, do that first. The Study.com ASVAB course includes more information about what each subtest covers. The question content is similar to what you'll see on the ASVAB, and practice test scoring will be broken down by subtests for line score calculation. This can really help you see where you stand. If this video helped you out, give it a thumbs up. Drop a comment with any questions or topics you'd like us to cover in the future, and don't forget to subscribe for more U.S. military test prep content. I'll see you in the next video. You've got this.